These days, there are a lot of children out there who are way wiser and ahead of their times than anyone is prepared for. And so we get questions a lot about raising these conscious, starseed, awake children. So this year, we're going to develop a program to try and help you out. In addition to having knowledge about developmental and cognitive and behavioral psychology, which is where a lot of parenting theories come from, there's a bit of a limitation with that though. These kids are different. They don't play by the rules because they don't develop in the same way that we used to. They kind of come ahead of the curve and then they struggle in other ways. And I know this because I was that kid. And I'm in the position I am now, and I have the abilities and the capabilities that I have now because I had two parents who did an awesome job of conscious parenting before that was a thing. Like, come on, I was an autistic, mystic kid with two parents who had no idea what either of those things were, and I turned out pretty well. And so because of what my parents did for me, I come with a very unique perspective. Although I'm not a parent, I come at it from the perspective of, what if your kid, 30 years from now, could turn around and tell you what they wish you had done, what they needed you to do, but didn't know how to say? That's essentially what we're offering through the Raising Consciousness programs. My mom and I went on the whole personal development, conscious raising journey together when I was in my 20s. And it was an interesting experience because we'd go to these workshops and work with these teachers. And I remember this one moment where she turned around and she was saying, with tears in her eyes, "Oh my God, I wish I knew this before and I could have raised you guys knowing this." And I turned to her and I said, "Do you know why this is so easy for me?" Because you did. I remember you telling us this years ago, and I've lived my whole life believing it. How are you just learning this now? And it really proved to me that what we needed, she showed up for, even though she didn't know that she was doing that. And I want to help you guys know a little bit better so you can feel like you're on top of things and be present to the experiences you're having with these kids. My dad is a quiet man, and we didn't do a lot of talking when I was young. He worked out of town, so he was away a lot. But when he was there, he would just be there, silently, chatting space. And he taught me to really appreciate the subtle things and connect with people in different ways, other than verbally. And as an autistic kid, connecting verbally or emotionally was really difficult for me. And so my parents showed up in unique ways that met who they were, that honored who they were, but really set me up for success. And so in honor of what they did for me, I want to pass along a bit of that wisdom and those experiences that we've had and help set you guys up for success. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for everything that you've done for me, and let's help the rest of them get it better. There's the old adage that it takes a village to raise a child, and that's pretty true. And so when we look at it, we think of all of the support system that helps you do this. You've got aunts and uncles, and you've got mentors and teachers and friends and even grandparents who are very involved or just a little bit involved. And so they're in a unique position to support conscious parenting, but also support an awake and aware child, even if the parents aren't conscious. And so we want to offer a program that's specifically for people who are in that position, teachers and mentors who recognize the sensitivity of these kids, who go home maybe to parents who don't know how to support that, or who need to support those who are doing conscious parenting and need to figure out where it is that your influence is and how you fit into their lives. Okay, so there's conscious parenting, which is parenting a conscious and awake and aware, sensitive child. Maybe they're even gifted. But what happens if it's the parent who's the sensitive person? We have a lot of parents out there who are sensitive, they are empathic, and they have crap boundaries. They don't know how to get their own needs met, they don't know how to take care of themselves, and they really don't know where they end and others begin. And there's one thing negotiating that with other adults who can teach you responsible, but doing that with kids, sensitive kids with sensitive parents, one dynamic, but also sensitive parents with unaware children who don't know how they're walking over you like a doormat, and they don't know how they affect you. And so the third program available in consciousness raising So the third program available in the Raising Consciousness program is all about when the parent is the sensitive person. One of the dynamics that we'll cover in that is how to co-parent with someone else who may not be. And so co-parenting as an empathic or sensitive or gifted person with someone else who isn't on the same page, who isn't interested in doing conscious co-parenting, that's a whole different argument. And so we're going to take some time to look at all of those dynamics and how to play in your own reality. There's so many different elements to raising consciousness, and there's so many different elements to parenting. And it starts right from the beginning, before the kid is even there to have a conversation with. When you're even still pregnant, how do you foster them in an environment that is actually going to set them up for success? I've seen a few times where people who were not aware, they get pregnant and all of a sudden they start having these sensitive abilities and this new level of awareness. And then the kid pops out, or the kid's gifted, and the parent is now capable of things they weren't available for before. And so whether you are being triggered by a pregnancy with a special little being who's initiating you, or whether you're just wanting to do it in a healthy, holistic, supportive way, no matter what the child comes out as. We're going to take some time to look specifically at hosting and fostering an environment that is conducive to conscious raising. What are we doing later? Are you still pregnant? It's one reality when you are gifted or sensitive, and it's another reality when the kid is gifted or sensitive. But what if you're neither of those things, yet you think that there's a better way to do things? The world itself is changing, and humans are capable and more aware than they ever were before. And some people are just starting to come online, and they're wanting to do things in a better way. So we have a whole different program, a subset of the Raising Conscious program, that's actually designed and geared towards people who are just becoming aware, who don't have sensitivities and are not necessarily capable of all of this subtle connection, but they just want to do things in a better way. They want to upgrade their family, and they want to upgrade the way that they can support them and provide for them, and cultivate that awareness and that sensitivity. And so the programs we have for the pregnancies and for the families that are just starting to come online and wanting to cultivate that sensitivity, those are going to be included in the Raising Consciousness, but they're also their own thing. So if you don't resonate with being a sensitive person and all the giftedness and that side of the conversation, maybe you're not really a new age person and it kind of scares you, that's okay. It's actually going to be a totally separate thing that is geared towards you and your needs. And they'll also be available within the Raising Consciousness program, but they are their own separate thing. So you don't have to worry about getting lost in the conversation about awareness and sensitivities that you don't have. We're going to be turning specifically based on where you are in your story. The Raising Consciousness program is multiple courses that meet the needs of parenting from multiple different perspectives. And so over the next few days, we're going to release the details of each one of the 4 main courses. And so stay tuned to find out more and find out where you fit in the spectrum and how we engage with these kids and how we can support them.